Welcome to Spotlight ETSU. Today on the show, we are joined by SGA President Keyana Miller. Thank you for being here with us today, Ms. Miller.
I am happy to be here.
All right, now, for everybody out there who don't know, you are one of the few people on this campus that I haven't really got to sit down and really talk to before coming onto the show. And so today I'm going to be speaking a lot about who you are, where you're from, and the way you grew up, and how that is influencing you here at ETSU, and also how it helped shape your decision to come here. Okay. So would you please just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, your major, and what you've been into here at ETSU.
Well, I am an English and political science major. I came in first as an English major and knew that that was what I wanted to do. I love reading books. I have always since I was little. And I'm actually honors and discipline in English. And then I started getting into student government here and really enjoyed the people I was around and enjoyed the information that I was getting. And so I just added political science last year. And both have been amazing. It's been a wonderful experience.
So where did you grow up before coming to ETSU?
Well, I am originally, my hometown is Nashville, Tennessee. That's where both of my parents went to school. And when I was in the 5th grade, we moved to Memphis, Tennessee. Okay. And so that's where they are currently now. Whenever I go home, when I say I'm going home, I go home to Memphis. It's very far.
Yes.
So those go very few and far in between. But when I go home, it's always a great experience. I love the city. I love them both, really. But that's really where I grew up. I claim them both. They're both very important to me. My family in both areas. So East Tennessee was new.
Yeah. What are some fond memories you have of Nashville before making that move?
Nashville, actually fishing with my dad, and particularly going out to, there was this dam, it was a Walter Hill Dam. It's a little bit outside of Nashville. It's in the Murfreesboro area. And I just remember always going there with him, and sometimes my mom would be there. And we just make a day out of it. Yeah. Fun fact, now I actually am a vegetarian. So sometimes if he wants to go fishing, I'll be there for moral support.
Yeah,
but that's something that I distinctly remember. There are a lot of different pictures of it. For the most part, whenever I look at old pictures, it's of us at that dam fishing.
So not really so fun. Much Music City, more
not
just
so,
fishing
yeah,
city.
Not so much Music City. My dad's from Alabama.
Okay.
So, and the Gulf, Mobile, Alabama. So that's what he grew up on. So it just kind of transferred over when he went north. And it was great. We also did, now I can say I have a lot of fond memories as an adult. I like to go back to Nashville for like concerts and stuff. So that now I get the Music City experience, whereas I didn't really get it before when I was there when I was younger.
What books were you reading when you were in Nashville?
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, have you always had an affinity for books?
Yeah, I've always loved books. I never strayed from English. That I always knew that was going to be what I was into, just because I love literature. I just used to read a lot of different novels. I do particularly remember one summer where I could go through maybe 10, but I wouldn't do anything. Let me preface this. I wouldn't do anything other than like babysit my siblings. And I would sit there in our house and read like 10 books a week.
Oh, wow.
I was doing nothing else. So I'm not gonna make that sound like it was a huge feat. I would just go get a snack and read another book. But that's really how I knew, and my parents knew that was what I was gonna be into. I never liked math. I never liked science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never been my thing.
Actually makes two of us.
Yeah.
I was never into that myself. How was the move from Nashville to Memphis? How was that transition?
It was different. We moved because my dad got a different job. My dad's always been higher education. So he had moved to a school there called Crichton College at the time, and then he went on to work at the UT Health Science Center. But At first I was really upset. As any 13-year-old is, my entire life was ruined. All my friends were gonna forget about me. Where Tidbit now, we're all still very close.
Yeah.
It changed nothing other than the scenery. But it was definitely different, the atmosphere in Memphis and the atmosphere in Nashville, the demographics, the actual, the geography is different.
Yeah.
West Tennessee is flat. There's nothing there. That's not a bad thing, but I mean, there's nothing there. There's no scenic mountains like there are here, which is absolutely amazing, and it's new to me every time I drive down University Parkway, seeing the mountains, because that's not something I grew up with. But the geography was different, the people were different, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad move. I love Memphis. I love going to visit, so it's really great.
You mentioned your dad's been into higher education. Can you tell me more about what he does?
Well,
and also what your mom does.
Well, my mom's actually retired. She worked with the state. She was a social worker with the Department of Human Services. So now she watches my brother and sister and is the biggest soccer mom I've ever experienced.
She enjoys the role.
She loves it. It's her favorite thing to do. She wasn't like that for me, but it's fine. For me, she's like, I gotta go to work. I will see you later. Now I call her and she's like, oh, I'm with your little sister at her volleyball game. You didn't go to my It's fine. Not upset. But my dad has always been in higher education. Like I said, he worked with business administration at UTL Science Center. He now actually moved back, and my family's also in the process of moving again for another time, back down to Mobile, Alabama, because that's where my dad's actually a dean of business and finance at Bishop State there. So always in higher education. Both of my parents they started at Tennessee State University. My mom ended up graduating at MTSU. But I knew that I had to go to some school. I felt like my parents have been my college advisors. They were my college advisors for 18 years. So when I actually got into school, I was like, I'm good. I think I know what I need to do. I've been told this for a long time now. But it was a really good experience. It was definitely a privilege. Not everybody had an experience that I had, where both of my parents not only went to school, finished. My dad went on to get like his master's and all that good stuff. And it's definitely an experience that I'm very happy that I got, because I don't know if I would have made it to where I am today, like here, and so involved, had I not had the experience with my parents. So I do want to thank them for that.
I was going to ask, that was actually my next question, was how was it growing up with a father who was working in higher education, and then of course a mother who, as a social worker, probably saw a lot of those children who didn't have that privilege. How was that?
It was definitely an interesting conversations that they had. My mom would tell me about some people that she would have to speak with, or maybe like a funny story that happened at work that day. And again, this is when we're in Memphis, Tennessee. So you could just imagine the differences with the unfortunate like poverty that is in the city now. And then as well, but hearing what was going on with her, and then my dad talking about like what's going on with the school, or I mean, he worked at the medical center, so he was with doctors, dentists, and it was just a very different experience. But they both helped me realize what I wanted to do. I knew like I said, I'm not good at math or science. Not good at it, don't like it, never did, it's fine. I made it this far. And them having that background, they were able to help me figure out what I wanted to do. And I would say the only backlash that I got in that experience was the fact that they both did they did undergrad. My mom got her bachelor's degree, and my dad went on to get more, but like I said, my mom went to MTSU. My dad went to Tennessee State. They said, so which one are you going to go to? So which one? Not where, it's either or.
Yeah.
You could only imagine what I told them.
How they react.
Well, I came up here the first time my junior year of high school, actually. There was a program called the Discover program that I came with the Office of Equity and Diversity. And I mean, they put us up real nice in the Carnegie Hotel. Hindsight, like that was probably what did it for me. But we had a great time, and it was just beautiful. Like we hadn't. My parents had been, the farthest I'd ever gone to in East Tennessee is like Gatlinburg. I hadn't even been to Knoxville. And so when we came up here, I said, this is beautiful. Everybody's super nice. They brought us here. I'm going to school here. Yeah. And my parents were like, okay, whatever, that's nice. And offhanded, they didn't think I was serious. And then my senior year, when I truly started applying to schools, I said, I mean, I'm applying to these because you all want me to. I'm going to ETSU. I really don't know exactly how else to explain it. So I knew I was going to go here my junior year of high school. So I like to plan.
That's awesome.
I'm an early planner, and so we had a great time. They were like, "Are you sure? Not only are you going really far, like this is a different time zone than where my parents are, but we've made it work the past 3 years, and I love it. It's just making that trek, and I will call it a trek back to West Tennessee.
Yes, ma'am.
Or Lord willing, going down to Mobile, Alabama, because that is even farther.
Oh yes.
But it was an amazing experience, like getting to come up here and now living in all different regions of the state, which are totally separate. Mm-hmm. They are all very different. And getting to see ETSU as an adult and like East Tennessee as an adult has been awesome.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear about all this, and I'm glad that we've taken a little bit of time to get to know you more. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be getting more into Ms. Miller's time here at ETSU. We're proud to have her as our SGA president right now, and we really want to know how all of that influenced you, and we love that it brought you here, but how has that shaped your time here? Awesome. All right, stay with us and join us after the break. Welcome back to Spotlight ETSU. I'm your host, Kenneth Medley. Today we are joined by SGA President Keyana Miller. We've been talking a little bit about where you're from and how you grew up and your influences. And I love the fact that you've done Middle, West, and now East Tennessee. A lot of people don't get that. I've never had that experience really. And I love that you continue to travel back and forth. We're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to move from Keyana's childhood and get more into your life here at ETSU. Awesome. And now you said that you knew junior year of high school you were going to come to ETSU, and you followed through with that plan. Tell me about orientation, freshman year, getting your teeth dug into ETSU.
Well, for orientation, funny story that I actually didn't get to go to my freshman orientation. I was invited to the bio invitation only one in April, and mind you, this is my senior year. I'm still in class, and this is seven hours away, 8 hours if you count that time zone change. And so my parents decided to make the decision for me not to come to my actual orientation. So I did everything over the phone with my advisor at the time, and I felt like I was cheated out of my own freshman orientation experience. That could be why I became an orientation leader. Hindsight, now I've gone to way too many, but it was definitely different, and now I'm happy that I had that experience, because when I get to talk to different students that might not understand how to register for classes, I mean, in general, I did it myself. I just had the help of someone guiding me over the phone. And having to do something like that yourself, understand what a CRN number is, figure out exactly why each class is named the way it is, figuring out if I need to take a class on the main campus or online or at the Kingsport campuses. Learning all of that up front, I feel like helped me a lot overall. So sometimes I think back and wish I'd gone to my own orientation, but I feel like I learned more by not going, actually. So, funny story.
So how was it, making that move up here and your first days at ETSU?
Well, when we first came up here, my freshman year, I lived in one of the residence halls. I lived in West. And I remember when everything was put up, we put everything in my room. My roommate was out somewhere. She was a junior, and I said, oh my goodness, I'm living with a junior. Like, this is new. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. But my family was getting into the car. They had to bring everything up with me. And they were about to head out. And I looked at them, I said, you realize you're leaving me like 7 hours away, where I'm in a different time, basically in Virginia. Y'all are leaving me in Virginia. They said, we know you decided this. And I definitely think it helped with independence, understanding how to like navigate living by myself. Because I mean, of course, like I still have their support in every way, but doing everything myself here would have been my college experience would have been very different had I have gone to a school in Memphis, which I just didn't. I just wanted to have that experience of moving out of the city, just didn't know I would move basically to a different state.
Were you scared?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know of many people that were able to do this move or to do any move into a college experience seamlessly. I had my freshman year, my first semester was, I'm not gonna say rocky, it wasn't. I had a great support system with my family, and I gained friends, and I joined organizations, but it was definitely new and on a personal level, talking to new people, having to meet new people, being forced to meet new people really, because this is a totally different area. And only getting to see my parents every, few months or talking to them over the phone, that was definitely different. But I think being scared in the beginning isn't the bad part. If you're not able to be acclimated to it, then there's an issue. But being scared, that just pushes you to learn more and get through it really. So it was fine.
You brought up something, and I want to kind of touch on that. You said you joined organizations and made friends, and that really helped you out a lot during your freshman year. What were some of those organizations, and did you make friends and join organizations, or did you join organizations and make friends?
I think the classes I was in really helped me, particularly like I said before, I'm an honors and discipline student in English. My classes were very small from the beginning. I think my first honors comp class had 8 students in it. So we all got very close. We were also all freshmen. So we all kind of had that same experience of leaving regardless if it was 7 hours or an hour or their family lived in Johnson City. It's still a new experience. So we all kind of bonded through that. But joining organizations, for example, for SGA, I did junior senate my first semester freshman year, where it's really just a get to know you orientation for SGA. We get to meet the executive branch, we get to meet people in the judicial and legislative. We got to learn a little bit about how Senate meetings go, what each of those branches do, how bills work. So that, being a part of that and getting to meet other people was really fun too.
What prompted that decision? Because you said you come here for honors English, and then your very first semester you decide junior senator.
I can actually pinpoint that to one particular person. I don't even think she knows this. Her name's Jasmine Parks. She graduated about maybe two years ago. Sorry, Jasmine, if I get this wrong. But she was my preview leader. I came up here for preview, even though I didn't get to do my orientation experience. And she told me a little bit about SGA. She told all of us, the whole group, about SGA and how she was a part of it. And then I remembered a few years back, I was still in high school at this point, but one of the SGA presidents, Doretha Ben, I had really admired her, and like I said, I knew that I was coming here. So I kind of followed what was going on at ETSU, and so those two women were really pivotal in my decision, because I was able to put a face to this organization and say, how do I do this? Like, what do I do to be a part of SGA? And they were definitely able to help. So I would pinpoint that to those two women. They were awesome and really helped me kind of know what I want to do with it. I mean, I didn't know I was going to get to this point.
Yeah, yeah.
But I definitely knew that I wanted to be in student government. And so that's kind of how that started, and then gained friends through there, so.
What was your original motivations for student government? Why did you want to be in it?
When they explained what it does, student organization, student government is student representation on campus. That's what really interested me. The whole generalized, the fact that you are a representative for your student body. Okay. As senators, a little tidbit of how we calculate how senators go. One senator equates to representing roughly 500 people in their college. Okay. And that number kind of got to me. I mean, you are representing that amount of people. Mm-hmm. That is a massive amount of students that you alone are meant to represent as a whole, of saying, oh, I think they would like this, I think this would work, I think this bill would be passed and that my constituents would like it. I really liked that overarching idea of just being a voice. And so I joined Junior Senate, not even joining as a senator, just learning more about it, and then luckily getting appointed the next semester as a senator.
Yeah,
but that was really cool. Flash
forward a few years,
yeah.
And you're representing, what, 15,000 nearly?
15,000 students. Every time I have to click the little, whenever you get an email from me, the student listserv, it tells me exactly how many people it goes to. It's a lot. Yeah, yeah. I have like 4 people read those emails just to make sure. Because that is a lot of pressure. I love it, but it's definitely a lot of pressure to take on.
What is your hope as the SGA president? Like, what motivated you to run, as president as opposed to a senator, and what do you hope to get from the office, and what do you hope to give to the office?
What motivated me to run for president, honestly, is the same thing that motivated me to want to be a part of SGA. Truly representing the students. Just now I'm able to do that on a much bigger scale.
Much more, I think, influential scale since the move from Tennessee Board of Regents. And how has that affected your role?
That has definitely changed the way that we view university governance. Everybody that's in SGA, that I'm sure you could find a senator that could tell you that we are all very in tune with what's going on with our university as a whole. SGA is very involved in the process of like choosing our student representative that's on the board. I personally have met our board of trustees, are all amazing people. And that change, particularly with the other 6 student representatives at the other former TBR schools, it's definitely been different. We have to realize that now we have a home system. We don't have, when we think about wanting to implement things on our campus, we don't have to think about, oh, will this work for University of Memphis? Which is what we had to do before. And that is a very drastic change, but I mean, those are 2 very different places. But now we are like, this is a home. Our board that hears what we want comes here. They meet in the CULP. Like that is an awesome experience that we get. Of course, I wish this was explained to all of our students. I want all of our students to know who our board is. Yeah. They're awesome people, and they enact change. And the fact that we have our own that can do it so specifically for us is just an amazing experience. And we all as TBR schools, and I speak on behalf of us, the representatives that meet together. We actually have meetings quarterly. And it goes from TBR schools to TCAT schools, community colleges, and even the UT chain. We all kind of meet together, and it's really cool. So coming from all of us, we think it's an amazing experience that we get.
Well, I just want to say it's about all the time we have, and I want to say thank you so much for being here, sharing so much of your personal life with us so that we could get to know you a little bit better. I'm going to give you the final word. What is the final message before we fade to black here that you want to give to the student body going forward?
To our students, if you need absolutely anything, if you have any questions, if you want to learn more about university government, if you want to learn more about our Board of Trustees, or if you have any issue that you'd like to bring up, that is what student government is for. We represent you, like I said before, and that is the most important thing that we do, and I want to do that to the best of my ability. So if you need absolutely anything, my office is in Source C of the Culp, and whenever that door is open, any student is allowed to come in, so I'd love to have you.